Amy Holmes. This is my Unit 1 presentation on an article, Genetics-Based Methods for Agricultural Insect Pest Management by Alfie and Bonzel from 2018, Agricultural and Forest Entomology Journal. One example of the use of GMO is through genetically modified insecticidal crops, which are altered to express a toxin against insects which attack them, protecting the plant from the target pests. An example of this would be modifying cotton plants to secrete bacillus toxins, or Bt, which are toxic to the diamondback moth and pink bollworm. However, planting vast crops of the high-dose Bt crops would lead to rapid spread of resistance due to surviving individuals would be homozygous, and adding in that there would be some non-transgenic plants to harbor those insects, helping to slow and dilute the evolution by providing susceptible resistant mates, allowing the progeny to be heterozygous. Another example of GMO is the sterilization of insects that was developed in the 1930s and 40s. This method is achieved as a result from either hybrid crossing between different species or different genetic strains. The sterilized insects are then released into the wild population to mate. Eggs resulting from their mating will not hatch due to the damage of the genetic material. Insect sterilization is species-specific, causing no damage effect on other species in the environment. This method is utilized in areas where a single species is the major cause of damage. This method has been found to completely eradicate insect species such as the New World screwworm from large areas throughout North and South America. Research and development in this method continues still today. Mathematical modeling is utilized to understand the possible effects of sterilized insect method on an insect population. Ratios can determine throughout mathematical modeling determine the number of engineered insects to the number of wild ones at natural equilibrium. If there's a high ratio of engineered insects released, then the critical threshold for the population will be eliminated. Whereas if the ratio is below the critical value, then the population attains a new lower equilibrium density. A new lower equilibrium density could still be considered desirable outcome if the result caused it to be below an economic harm threshold, leaving the species to not be completely eradicated. This has been utilized for the genetic control of the mosquito that transmits viruses including dengue, yellow fever, and Zika to humans. Modeling suggested that engineered mates would need to achieve 13 to 57% of mating to achieve sufficient suppression to reduce the disease problem of dengue virus. A third example of genetic modification is gene and genome editing. This method has been developed in mosquitoes to either suppress vector populations through female fertility or to modify a population by spreading a trait that affects its ability to harbor pathogens. My personal view, I am for GMO in that there can be a balance to obtain larger crops while maintaining a species of insects. I grew up in a time when spray pesticides were overly utilized for pest prevention. Growing up, there were vast numbers of lightning bugs, and now it's rare to see one. Pesticides were not the answer to pest control due to the damage not only the target pests, but all insects. Pest control is needed due to the dire need to yield larger crops in order to feed and provide for the world's population. Eliminating species of insects would upset the equilibrium of the environment. In nature, termites eat decaying and rotting wood. However, when they invade our homes and structures, they become a problem. I feel that if pests can be controlled in their destruction of crops without eliminating them completely, this is the best option. This concludes my Unit 1 presentation on the article.